I mean, these are teenagers. These are youngsters here.
Well, I don't know about all of them being youngsters.
Yes.
I mean, I was there not too long ago.
You're a youngster, Tasman.
No. I think my last year of Polo Cup, I was in the Masters class and I was only
Ooh.
28 years old. So, yeah, I mean, this is where the young guys coming from karting, and this is the progression up. There's Formula Fords and there's Polo Cup. And, you know, it obviously depends on which way you want to pursue your racing career. So if you want to go tin tops, Polo Cup is the way to go, and also the most affordable formula you can get.
Where would these drivers have come from? Karting, or where would they have got the opportunity to get into the Polo Cup?
Most come from karting. A lot actually don't even do karting at all. So a lot have got involved either in your regional racing and then stepped up into Polo Cup. So, I mean, Polo Cup does give them a really big opportunity to get back into national racing or start in national racing. And like you said, it's such a competitive class. And so even if you're starting at the back or whatever the case is, you're still having a race no matter what.
And I can imagine the team from Volkswagen have brought lots of bumpers and doors. and it's not uncommon to see these races weekends ending with cars, white car with a black door or a green door or something, because that's what it's all about.
Yeah, so they do say rubbing is racing, but these guys take that a little bit more seriously in this class. It's not always ideal, but I think it's actually gotten a lot better. Maybe because of the progression from karting, you can't really touch wheels and stuff. So when you come to saloon cars, you're kind of more aware of your space. It used to be a lot worse, I found, when I was back racing. But yeah, they certainly are getting a little bit better at the crashing.
And we've got a lot of drivers coming from sort of unusual backgrounds. We've got a hot rod specialist here. We've got an F1600 driver moving up into the Polo Cup. So, I mean, there's really no dictating where you come from in this.
Yeah, well, that's what I said. I said some come from karting, some don't even come from racing. They've done sim driving. So this allows you to get into motorsports. It's not overly expensive, so it is affordable. So if you don't have a sponsor, you can still go racing.
Yeah.
And everyone is driving the same equipment. There's only a little bit of things that you can actually change. So like even if you're not in the biggest teams or whatever the case is, you can still be competitive.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah.
So just some talk to us about the race line for the Polos, because we've been watching all the series that, you know, the Kyalami 9-hour cars, they seem to take different race lines for a Polo, and walking around the track, that Leeuwkop looks like a really difficult spot to pick a braking point. And I can imagine for these cars, you're very blind going up there.
Yeah, I mean, in main circuit, it doesn't matter actually what car you're driving up to the top of the tabletop. We call it the mine shaft. No matter what, you don't know where your braking point is, because as you get to the top, the track actually completely disappears from you. So it is really difficult, but you kind of, once you've been here once or twice, you kind of know as you get to the top of that crest, that's where you need a brake. And if you go a little bit later, you're not going to make the corner.
And just quickly talk about Cora. I mean, I know you've spoken to her a few times. I mean, she'll be devastated with this result, eh?
Oh, I think that was her best qualifying, yes, since being in the class. So I think she would definitely be disappointed with that. And it's actually so nice to see Cara in the top six. I know she's been working incredibly hard to get to that point. So it's actually nice to see her starting that high up on the grid. So I'm sure she's not going to enjoy being in the wall on the first lap out.
Absolutely. I mean, you've been part of pioneering racing for many ladies throughout the years. Do you stay in touch with it and young ladies coming through?
I always try and get involved. I mean, I went to Tyler. I've never met her before, but I went to her this morning and just try to help her out with a little bit of like just tactics in qualifying, because she's just stepped up into polos and she's come from single seaters and it's slightly different. So, you know, I always try and get involved. I always try and give my opinion and my experience, and if I can help young girls go racing, then why not?
Absolutely. And it seems like it's in the strongest point it's ever been in South African motorsport.
Yeah, not just South African motorsport, I mean all over the world. Absolutely. It's the strongest it's ever been. So it's so nice to see so many girls getting involved in racing. And, you know, I've been around a really long time. I've raced for 28 years.
Sorry, how old are you now?
Yeah, so, wow. You know, if I can offer that advice and help the younger generation step up, I want to see women in motorsport. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've got a bit of a difficult situation now. It seems like they're struggling to recover her car, and a car is can't. That does mean that we're going to possibly, with just 4 laps to go, we might not be able to get a race. And this is the challenge, I guess, is we've got a lot of races coming up, and we've got 51 BMWs up next to take to this track. There we can see Kara's car. It looks like possibly
behind the barrier.
Yeah, behind the barrier. We could see the safety car perhaps coming in now, but I mean, this will give the guys even more impetus to really throw it in with just 4 laps to go if we get going.
Oh yeah, that's kind of like a last lap dash kind of thing, but now they all still got all their push to passes.
It's difficult for them to get that.
All right, so we've got the cars now getting up, coming up down the pit straight, and we're starting to see some fans gathering in. It's a busy afternoon of activity, as mentioned, 51 BMWs. But coming up from really Western Province and Gauteng, joining the series, this is quite exciting to see. And one looks at the sort of different cars. I mean, Polos have been, like, historically, Volkswagen have been very good at supporting local racing. BMW is very strong up here. It does seem like after the pandemic, I hate talking about it, but it seems like we've recovered.
I think we recovered, or we're slowly recovering. You can start seeing that the grids are filling up again. After COVID, there was very minimal drivers on the grid, and it was actually horrible to see for motorsport, but it was all over the world. It stopped everywhere, so it's nice to see we filling back up, and there's 17 drivers on the grid here today, and Polo Cup has always been strong. So I'm sure you're going to start seeing the younger guys coming back up through karting and joining the Polo Cup championship.
Yeah, absolutely. So it looks like we've got possibly 3 laps to go, and with the cars weaving around. Okay, that looks like that's the medic that's on the track at the moment. It's just coming past there, but weaving is a good sign. It means we might get just a little dash here to the end. We talked about racing line, but talk to us about this track and the history and being here. I mean, the Polo Cup goes to all the tracks, but to be at this track, the start of the season, I mean, that's quite special. Doesn't often happen.
Yeah, well, they don't often race here. Yes. So to be at an event like this, racing at Kyalami, it's always special. It doesn't matter what car you're driving, and especially for the youngsters, it's something that you always dream of doing. So for them, I'm sure they're really excited to be here. It does look they're going to start now as the safety car lights are off.
So will they be lining up next to each other for this restart?
No, it will be a rolling start.
A single line rolling start.
Yeah.
All right, so here we go. Safety cars coming in now. We've still got Van der Merwe. He's had a pretty good weekend, Davy Van der Merwe, with the Nathan Motorsport Polo. Sort of strong in free practice, weaving quite a bit. Is he going to leave it quite late, or do you think he'll dash off before the corner?
I think he's going to slow them down, and I think he tried to catch them out there, but they were awake.
Of course, we're looking to obviously crown new champions as well. A lot of these guys will be moving on. You get a bit successful, you get an opportunity now, and there's a lot of opportunity for youngsters in South African motorsport.
Yeah, well, Darby nearly won the championship last year, so it's so nice to see him back in the front. As you can see, he's actually opened a little bit of a gap, so he did a really good job at the restart. And it will actually be nice to see, maybe he finishes in the championship at the top of the top step of the podium. But I mean, a lot of these guys have worked really hard to get to these positions, and it's so nice to see them back at the front of the grid.
Right, so racing underway. We've unfortunately lost a few laps there, but it's no doubt going to be a frantic dash to the finish here. There's a couple of guys who've really been touted as future champions of South African motorsport, and certainly looking forward to seeing how they pan through. But disappointment if you're just joining us. Corey Hill, unfortunately, going off at the S's. Most improved driver from last year. She had a fantastic 6th spot on the grid all week long. In fact, yesterday, free practice, she couldn't get into the top 10, so she'll be disappointed with that. And Tyler Robinson there as well, showing a bit of improvement as well. She struggled all weekend long. So it's still Van der Merwe leading Victor and Visser. He started from pole position. Pretorius now up into 4th place. It's the Polo Cup. It's exciting stuff. It's the 9-hour weekend getting underway. Just to remind you, BMW race up next, 51 cars on the grid. Now, you've got to be itching watching this and wanting to go racing, Tasman.
It's so hard watching the racing. And I'm always like, the last couple of years, I've been trackside because of COVID and all of that happening. So it is really difficult, but you kind of come to terms with it a little bit. It's now the 2nd or 3rd year that I've been out of it.
Sure. Joel Visser certainly looking racy, looking like he can possibly move up into 2nd place over there. Would they get less push to passes now that we've lost a couple of laps, or they've still got all of it?
They'll still have all of them, so they would all have them saved. And normally throughout the season, the top 3 or top 6 actually start getting less push to passes to give the back guys a little bit more chance. But now it's the first race of the season; they've all got equal amounts, and I see Victor's now losing a couple of spots.
Yeah, in fact, Visser's pushed him out wide, and he's down to 30. He's going to be compromised now, going all the way down the kink into Crowthorne. And it looks like he might lose some more places here. Very wide this first corner. Lots of different racing lines and lots of opportunity for overtaking then.
Yeah, I think that's your biggest point of an overtaking maneuver. You get a nice long drive down to the first corner or second corner. And like you see, that's your biggest braking point as well. So it is the easiest place to try and pass. And with your push to pass, it does make it a little bit easier as well.
All right, out on the back straight now. You can see the support race pit lane and the famous barbecue corner in the background through sunset. Hey, man, got any three-wheel action perhaps on these cars? Yeah, we can just see them bouncing up and down.
There's even two-wheel action in Polo Cup. You just got to wait for it to happen.
And I mean, these cars are powerful. I mean, there we go. He's just touched the back. We expected this to happen now. Victor's dropping back, and he's just letting them know that he's still there and he doesn't want to give up the places. He had such a fantastic start. And now, of course, we go up to Leeuwkop, the old West Bank corner. With these cars, I mean, you can't see the braking point. You can't see the corner at this point. I mean, they're certainly not going to be lost on power at all going up there.
No, it also becomes a little bit easier when you have someone in front of you, because when they brake, you brake it.
Well, you don't have a choice.
Well, sometimes the guy behind you doesn't, and you have an unexpected crash. But it does make it a little bit easier to follow someone than be in the lead. But that's where, obviously, practice comes in.
And is it full taps through Mineshaft?
Yeah, it's easy flat, as they call it.
Easy flat. And there we go. Got the 70 going through there, so we're going to see some more changes here in the lead. This new area for these cars, I mean, this can be a bit sketchy here. You can easily just fall off the track like we've seen there now, and easily lose your pace, and you can find yourself in the barrier, particularly coming out of Cheetah.
Yeah, that is a really difficult corner, and I've never been fond of it. I preferred the old chicane. It is a tricky corner because it's also a blind rise, so you can't see where you're turning in. And if you do make a mistake, it's very easy to end up in the wall. But with Polo Cup, like we said, it's so close that if you do make one silly mistake, like Victor did, he's now dropped maybe 6 places in just a couple of laps.
Yeah. Just looking back at the field there, Ethan Coetzee, he had a terrible 2020 and looks like he's going to have a terrible start as well. He's slowed down and looks like he's going to coast his way back into the pits. So a couple of changes here. Van der Merwe now, still currently leading, Davy van der Merwe. Visser was the man to beat all weekend long. Charles Visser in the Universal Motorsport VW Polo. He dominated free practice 1 and 2 and was on pole position, but didn't get the getaway that he was hoping for. And currently then it's Pretorius sitting in third, Anthony Pretorius in the Bucket List Racing VW Polo. So are there spots on this track where you could make a last dive? I can imagine Ingwe would be that, eh?
I think anywhere you can make a last dive if you really wanted to. It just obviously depends on how close you are behind the guy in front of you. They always call it a late lunge, and sometimes it works out and sometimes it doesn't.
Listen, there's a lot of money on the line here. Don't scratch my car.
Oh no, the cars don't come out looking the same after race 1.
Yeah, incredible. All right, so we've got looks like one more lap to go after this. Still Van der Merwe leading the way. There's exciting young talent coming through in South African motorsport, and it's on showcase here for you in the opening support race of the Kyalami 9-hour. I think what's delightful to see for race fans as we watch is that they're all sponsored. They've got branding on their cars, and the sponsors are here as well. They come out to support their drivers in the opening race of the weekend.
Yeah, and it also makes it a little bit bigger to come to an event like this. You're not only coming to support your driver, but you're also coming to see the international guys go around the track. So, it is more appealing for a sponsor to get involved, and that's why we see so many more getting involved these days.
All right, so into the final lap then. Van der Merwe still comfortably leading the way. He's dominated from pole position, from the first lap really, when he got the whole shot going down into Crowthorne. Davy van der Merwe from Northern Motorsport into the final lap ahead of the man who has looked strong all weekend, Charles Visser in the Universal Motorsport Polo. Of course, they've got race 2 coming up tomorrow. So this is the opening race for the Polo Cup, and in fact opening up this 27th season of the Polo Cup, brought to you by CompCare. And the second race then coming up early tomorrow, it's at 9:35. So be sure to join us there. We go live at 10 to 8 tomorrow morning. A full program of races. Anyone that you look keeping an eye out for later on today?
Well, obviously I got to support Keegan.
Certain husband, yes.
Yeah, and he actually put it on poll. So clearly Isabella's talk to him yesterday worked, and he knew where he needed to find some time. But yeah, we're obviously going to be standing behind him, and hopefully he can walk away with a win today.
Yeah, fantastic. Tasman, it's been amazing to have you with us.
Thank you.
Lovely to see you here, not only supporting hubby, but part of this, and we hope you stay with it for a long time. So thank you for joining us.
You won't be getting rid of me anytime soon.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Tasman.
Thank you.
So Tasman Pepper there, household surname in South African motorsport as we go into the final lap here of the CompCare Polo Cup. And it is the man who's been leading from the first corner, Davy van der Merwe, looking very strong. And he'll be feeling quite comfortable going into the race tomorrow as well. Charles Visser from the Universal Motorsport into second place. He was on pole, didn't quite get his way. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see the incident in the start there, but Pretorius then up into third, and he's looking very strong. And again, we're starting to see the exciting talent coming through in South African motorsport. Anthony Pretorius, the bucket list racing then. Just the final corner now to go. Ingwe for van der Merwe to pick up the first win here of the weekend at the 9 hour of Kyalami and the festival taking place. And there we go, a nice comfortable final corner. And it's a race victory then for van der Merwe through the finish line. He comes home ahead of Charles Visser, and it's Anthony Pretorius in third. Robertson fifth for Victor. Basha, who was strong early on in the weekend, looks like he's lost a place there. In fact, we've got a bit of changing in the timing there, but Basha is sixth overall. Seventh for Fenton, Loosemore, Jason Loosemore, who moved up from Hot Rod in 8th position. Pillay in 9th, Kamani from Nathan Motorsport in 10th. The Steaming Bean Polo from Bassoon in 11th place, and 12th for Maria with the Cerebex Davidson sponsored car. If you're just joining us, unfortunately, Cara Hill, who had her best qualifying performance, there she is. It's looking pretty cool down there at the S's. Unfortunately, a little bit too much speed into the first part of the S's, and she went across the gravel, almost took out another competitor, but then has buried it into the barrier, unfortunately. She's okay, and we've got the first race now underway. It's the Kyalami 9 hour support races. It's a hot day in Johannesburg, and our first race is now done and dusted. Let's just give you a quick run through the program. If you're joining us and if you're in the vicinity, you're not going to miss this afternoon's lineup for you.
I'm not ready with Ricky. I'll tell you when we are ready.
So BMW M Performance Parts Race Series is up next. The race weekend started with 59 cars coming to free practice. You go to the support race pits, you're going to see a BMW, guaranteed. Well, we're down to 51. There's 51 cars that will start on the grid, and they're separated into 5 classes. We'll give you a little rundown on that in a moment. Let me give you the rest of the program, though, for this Kyalami 9 hour. So we've got CompCare Polo Cup done and dusted. There we can see the images of the support race pits just coming out of barbecue into the beautiful sunset corner, taking a right turn up to club. So next up, BMW M Performance Parts Race Series. It's a local series. It is round 2 for them. So they've had their opening race here at Kyalami. We'll take a short lunch break. We're back for the GTC and SupaCup, the premier saloon racing here in South Africa, production car racing. Look at the stunning views down there from up atop Leeuwkop, looking down the mine shaft and back towards the S's. So GTC and SupaCup getting underway at 1:45, a little bit of a breeze, keep things cool. And then the Mobil1 V8 Series comes your way at 2:20. The loud pedals will be ready to go. These beasts of the track are lined up to go at 2:20. We then cross over to our Kyalami 9 hour commentary team. Daniel Hayes and Ernst Page ready to go. We've got qualifying sessions for you coming up at 3 o'clock. Just after 4, we'll be back in the hot seat here for the InvestChem F1600 and the FF Kent race, as we see the polos lining up there from the CompCare Polo Cup race. So that's the InvestChem F1600 and FF Kent at 4 this afternoon. A couple of hot laps for VIPs around the track. There's some stunning Ferraris and Ford Mustangs to keep an eye out for. And then we've got what was going to be an hour-long race for the Wild Rose Gin Sports and GT. It's a race that's been put together to support the iconic Kyalami 9-hour. And we've had to move that now to 2 30-minute races, and it's because many of the cars don't have a fuel tank that's actually big enough to handle an hour-long race. So 2 30-minute dashes coming up for you with some fantastic cars on the way. Some replicas. I saw a 1974 Porsche, a 911, a replica of the one that took part in the Le Mans in 1974. And the gentleman has painted it in the Benetton colours of Michael Schumacher's famous Formula One car. And then, of course, we've got some of the famous front runners as well. Some of the sports cars coming through from the Western Cape. They've got a very strong series down there. And lovely to have them join us up here at the 9-hour. So let's give you those results then once again for the CompCare Polo Cup. It was the 30 from from.for who finished in first position. Unfortunately, we lost about 4 laps there behind the safety car, but it's from.for who takes the race victory ahead of the man who was on pole position, Charles Visser. Had a very strong weekend so far. He's still got the fastest lap during the race at 2:08.1, but unfortunately losing the lead on the first corner on the first lap. Pretorius then in third. The Bucket List Racing Polo is in third place. He'll be on the podium. Missing out, it's the 76 of Jager Robertson, the Liquimoli Rowan Tree Polo. He's in the fourth position. In fifth was Victor, who was up in second at one place. The 71 Nathan Victor Summit Racing Polo GTR. He's had an indifferent weekend, unfortunately. He was black flagged in the opening race. Managed to pull things together to go fourth in the qualifying, and then was looking strong up into second at one point. But he settled for fifth place in the opening round of the CompCare Polo Cup. Basher is in sixth, the 97, the QVWI Motorsport VW Polo. He comes through then in sixth place. The 77 of Dean Fenter, he's moved up from F1600s, the VDN Auto Cars and M-Town. And he finished there in seventh position rather. Right, so we've got some action coming out on the track shortly. It's the BMWs, and as mentioned, 51 cars will be starting on the grid. The man behind it all, the chairman, Mr. Bernard de Gouveia, he'll be joining me a bit later on. He is currently looking very strong in the D class. Now let's explain to you how this works for the BMW M Performance Pass Race Series. 51 cars there. How do we separate them? Not engine size, not on year of car, which many had thought, but it's rather on your lap time. So if you can do a sub 156 around Kyalami, you're in the A class. If you're doing between 156 and a 202 around this track, you're in the B class. C class is between 202 and 208. D class 208 to 2 minutes 12 seconds rather, and if you're slower than 212 you're going to be in the E class. Now interestingly, the weekend started out very good for some. Craig Rapp, the number 160, he started out comfortably in the lead in the E class, and they found his time to be far too quick. So unfortunately Craig has moved up to the C class, and he didn't disappoint. He's second fastest in the C class. 51 cars will start, and we see them coming around. So they're going to firstly line up. We've got the pace car on the main straight. We'll get the cars lined up. I was being asked, are there 51 grid positions? Well, it is a rolling start, so we don't need to worry about the cars being around the corner, but it is going to be an absolute humdinger. Yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing from some of the drivers a little bit later on. So who are the ones to look out for? Well, the two Loureiro brothers, the Portuguese brothers from Combined Racing. Paulo, he was quickest in free practice 2, but his brother then decided to take the pole position. And Rick Loureiro, the Combined Racing BMW F30 335i. The two brothers will be battling it out. They've got a nice, healthy rivalry, and they'll be the ones to look out for. Cars making their way now around Leeuwkop, coming down the mine shaft. We've got a lot of them to get down to the start line. It's race 2, support race here at the Kyalami 9-hour. Right, all set to go then. The car's coming around the final corner. The pace car is waiting for them. They're going to come around to Ingwe. They're going to try and get some formality. You can imagine 51 cars. Trying to find some kind of formation is going to be tricky. But they're managing to do it. So there they go. Come around onto the main straight past the 9-hour pits. And finding themselves into the right grid positions. Right, the marshals are down there. So let's run through some of the favourites to look out for in this, the BMW M Performance Parts Race Series. As mentioned, the round 2 action. And in the A class, these are the cars that have done under 1 minute 56 around Kyalami. We've got the Lerero brothers. We've got Rick and Paolo who will be on the front row. Alongside them is looked very strong all weekend. The Bidwheels BMW E92 of Leon Loebscher. He'll be in 3rd position. On the B class, this is the cars that are between the 156 and the 202 lap times. We've had a strong performance from the likes of Andreas Meyer, who looked good in early free practice. He'll be starting 2nd on the grid because the man on pole position is going to be Lyle Ramsey in the BMW E36 325i. A turbocharged BMW, stunning looking car. He's going to be the man to beat in the B class. 3rd place then in the B class in the first race of the weekend is Ari van der Berg in the BMW E36. The number 12 car is 3rd in the B class. Into your C's, we've got Anwar Alivi. He started in the D class. He was far too quick in free practice, and so they bumped him up into the C class. He's in the Jive Cool Drinks Parkers Parts Center BMW E46. That's the C class leader and the man on pole position. Alongside him, we're going to have Craig Rapp. Craig was one of those drivers who started in the E class. He's moved up to the C class now. It's the NDT. Beautiful BMW E36 328 turbocharged vehicle. He was the man moving up from the C class. And then alongside them, it's Troy Cochran in the Arrow Automotive BMW E36.
Ricky, are you with the winner? Is it the winner? Just not if it is.
Right, lots of commotion and noise down there. Everyone trying to find their grid positions. Very hot conditions. You see a lot of the drivers waving their door, trying to find some cool air to get in. Right, in the D class, it was Varish Gunpath in the Grobler Motorsport BMW E46. He's on pole position in the class. You can see a couple of jostling taking place here as everyone tries to find a space. What a sight it is, ladies and gentlemen. 51 BMWs lining up. So Virash is the man on pole in the D class. Behind him, Jaco Storm, who was really out of sorts all weekend but found the pace in the qualifying. The True Wood Furniture BMW E46 328i in 2nd. And 3rd place, Andre Diedrichs, who had a problem early on in the weekend. Unfortunately, didn't run in the opening session. But he's bounced back and sitting 3rd now in the D class. E class, it's Sean Dodd in the BMW E36. Alongside him, it's Dave Roos in the E36 BMW. And then we've got Kobus Boma in the Pep Shield BMW. That's the E90 330i. We've got a full range of cars here going back, and looking forward to seeing them all getting ready to go. It's quite a scene.
Ricky, with one of the Polo drivers, if you want to link to it, you can anytime.
Right, we weren't able to cross over to Ricky, my co-presenter, who's down in the pits. She's got one of the drivers who took part in the CompCare Polo Cup. Ricky, are you there? And who have you got with you?
Yes, Gareth, I'm here. Thank you so much. It's been so exciting in the race pits here. And unfortunately, this is always the interview that doesn't want to happen. But I've got Ethan Kutsia here, who came off early. Ethan, I wanted to know, first of all, what happened in this race that you came off early?
Well, so as I was about to start cutting through the field, my electrical started cutting out and the power steering started cutting out, and the whole car just like tenses up, so it was out of control. And obviously, you know, you have to come in for that. You can't race like that.
Yeah, that's not ideal. And I mean, obviously, you've taken a few years off because of a big crash in East London. So is this, you've just come back now and then to come off, how are you feeling about that? Do you think you can come back in race 2?
Yeah, well, it's very disappointing, obviously, and we'll just have to see what happens with the car. We don't know how bad the problem is, so I don't know if I'll be able to make it in race 2.
Okay, well, I mean, from my side personally, I was watching you anyway because I wanted that comeback moment, which will be really cool. So I'm hoping you'll be back in race 2, and yeah, and that you can have some fun.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
All right, Gareth, let's see what's happening with you in studio.
Thank you, Ricky. Right, in fact, you can look out for the CompCare Polo Cup race 2 coming up tomorrow morning at 25 minutes away from 10. Action now turns to the BMW M Performance Parts Series race, and you can see what a lineup we have. In fact, while Ricky was chatting, the front runners took off already. We still got cars crossing the start line because there are 51 BMWs all set to go here for the BMW M Performance Parts Race Series. So it's a rolling start. As mentioned, it's round 2 of the championship. 5 classes to look out for: A, B, C, D, E. As the racing is so tight that the drivers have actually changed categories as they get faster and faster. So your A class, just to remind you, they're doing a sub 156. In fact, the pole position around 149, so very quick times from our leaders. The B class between 156 and a lap of 202, so 2 minutes, 2 seconds, you're in the B class. C class from 202 to 208. So if you went free practice and you went for a 201, hey, they're going to push you down. They'll literally just change the sticker on your car and you're into the next class. D class is 208 to 212, and then the E class, there's some stunning cars here. They are any cars that have sub or post or after 2 minutes 12. Starting to see fans pouring in. This is going to be a spectacular one. I can see lots of fans down the kink into Crowthorne getting ready for this, what is going to be a spectacular start to the race. It's the BMW M Performance Parts Race Series, race 1 of the weekend. It's their second round. And just to remind you, tomorrow morning they come up at 25 minutes past 8. Just a quick look ahead to what's coming up for you this afternoon as the cars make their way around through the S's and up to, in fact, they're going through the club at the moment and to the S's. We've got up next a little lunch break, and then we'll be back with GTC and the SupaCup. Robert Volk, the defending champion, has looked very strong all weekend. On the SupaCup side, there's 3 drivers that have thrown their names into the hat. Keegan Campos he was there, but all of a sudden on pole position, Jonathan Machotsi alongside him, and you can't ever write off Bradley Liebenberg. So those 3 will be the ones to look out for in a very competitive SupaCup class. So that's up next. We've got Mobil1 V8 Series on the way at 20 past 2. And then, of course, the big Kyalami 9-hour. Qualifying, all 3 drivers will be in action. And it's the average time between the top 3 that will decide their grid positions. BMW M Performance now Parts Race Series. Cars making their way around the top up at Leeuwkop. Slowing down for the mineshaft. Pace car there will peel away as they come down. That's the mineshaft corner, and then they go straight into the Crocodiles. Then it's Cheetah, and then the famous Ingwe corner. Painted with the South African flag, become an iconic view of the track. Everybody wants their photographs on that corner. So 5 classes to look out for. I'm expecting a runaway victory here for one of the Loureiro brothers, and we're looking forward to chatting to them a bit later. Just to remind you, the chairman of this series, Bernard Gouveia, he's in the D class, and he's going to be joining me just after 2 o'clock this afternoon to tell us about how maybe you can be part of the BMW series. Certainly, seems like everyone is welcome, as 59 cars made their way to the weekend. Only 51, though, on the grid. And we're looking for a clean race. So drivers now making their way down, and there we go. The pace cars now come into the pits, into the Kyalami 9-hour, the international pits, and we'll see this stunning sight. This is a photograph you're going to want to get, and an amazing moment here at the 9-hour. It's the 2 Loureiro brothers, Paulo and his brother Rick. They were the quickest. They've been strong all weekend long. And there we go. We're waiting now for the green lights, and it's green, and it's the 2 brothers. And it looks like it's the older brother that's got the whole shot. Can he hold it all the way down into the first corner? And it looks like they're playing nicely as we welcome in the A-Class. There come some of your B-Class cars now close behind. You'll start to see the gaps being separated from the various different groups. So Rick Loureiro then in the opening lead. He's going through the famous barbecue korma back up at the top next to the support race pits. Leon Loebscher has also been strong all weekend, but he hasn't had the pace to keep up with the 2 brothers. And there we can see a visible gap now opening up. Number 47, Modak, he is up into 4th. Imad Modak also just not having the pace as the 2 Loureiro brothers, who are now stretching out the lead. We'll start to see some of the different classes mingling now and separating as we go into a timed race. So not a laps here. We're not saying 10 laps. We're going into timed race. 24 minutes left in this one. It's a rolling start there for round 2 of the BMW M Performance Parts Race Series here at stunning Kyalami. It's race 2 of the session for this afternoon in the support races. And ready, the front runners up at Leeuwkop. So some of the stories, of course, in this event have been all about the locals coming to support, showcasing their talents, investing themselves into their cars as the brothers play nicely going into the Crocodiles. That corner has been known to bite a little bit this weekend or this week so far. Into the B class so far, we've got the Ramsey number 116. No surprise there. He's been strong all along throughout the weekend. The 116 Lyle Ramsey in the BMW E36. As we can see, our leaders coming through the pits on the main straight past the international pits. So Ramsey up leading the B class in second place. It's Andreas Meyer, the number 2 BMW. He's got the E36 there in second place. In fact, we've had a change of lead there going into the final corner, and it is now the 12, the Ori van der Berg BMW E36 up into second place. So let's just give you an update there. C class, it's number 45. It's Anwar Levy, who's dominated all weekend in the D class. He was bumped up to C class and he's leading there as well. So it's the second race of the weekend for the support races. The first race was the CompCare Polo Cup, and race victory was with Davy van der Merwe. Ricky's down in the pits and chatting to the Nathan's Motorsport Polo GTR driver. All right, so we'll touch base there with Ricky, who's with the race winner from our opening race, the CompCare Polo Cup, in a short moment. Let's give you some more updates of what's happening in the rest of the classes. In the D class, it's the 73. He's looked strong all weekend long, and that is Andre Diedrichs in the BMW E30 330i Turbo, who's currently, in fact, he started the weekend with a bit of a problem. We've got doubled waved yellows, and that's going to slow the field right down now, unfortunately. We're going to be crossing over to Ricky in a short while. And unfortunately, we've got a car that's got a problem there on the pit lane straight for the support races. He's climbed out. Are they going to be able to recover that car? All right, we're going to keep you posted. We're going to cross over now into the support race pits with Ricky, who's down with our race winner from the CompCare Polo Cup. We'll continue to try and chat to Ricky, who's down in the support race pits, and give us some update. We're hoping to chat to the race winner from the 27th opening race of the season for the CompCare Polo Cup. Right, apologies there, folks. It seems that we've got a bit of a break in the connection there. We'll try again with Davy van der Merwe, our opening race winner in the CompCare Polo Cup. It's BMW M Performance Parts Race Series are underway, and it's the two Laruro brothers still comfortably in the lead. Rick ahead of his brother Paulo, the two Portuguese. They've got a nice, healthy rivalry, and Rick leading now 3.5 seconds ahead. Leon Loubser 10 seconds back, just shows you the domination of the two brothers from the combined racing team. Let's continue then with your updates as to what's been happening. Doesn't look like that incident coming out of barbecue is going to have an impact on the race, so we continue. 19 minutes left to go, in race 1 of the weekend. It's the second round of the BMW M Performance Parts Race Series. So let's keep you updated. E class, the cars that are just over 2 minutes 12 in their lap times. And it's the number 88 that's currently leading that class, the E class, and that is Ari van Heerden in the VTEC Motorsport BMW E97. Hot on his tail, there's a very close race there, is the 735 of David Rees, the BMW E36 328i. He's been second all weekend long, and he's just 0.1 second behind. So traffic may having a little impact there, because we've got a D class rider in between them, which could help one of them. The 514 of Corvus Boma, still the Pep Shield BMW E90, sitting in third place in the class. So 51 cars started. We're down to 50 at the moment. Unfortunately, one of our cars going off just after the barbecue corner. And it's the Leroux brothers still leading the way. In fact, Rick just putting the fastest lap, a 1:48.9. Wow, that's a quick time. So into the 48s now. First time for the weekend for Rick Leroux in the BMW F3335i. Just looking down the field, the quickest of the B class is Ramsey in that BMW E36. And he's looking strong in 6th place and putting in sub 2-minute laps constantly. Andreas Meyer is second there in the BMW E36. And there we can see the stricken car coming out of the barbecue corner. Of course, no overtaking in that area as the cars dive into sunset. Right into Club 3 abreast coming through there. Different classes together. And making their way around to the S's. We've got 17 minutes left here at the BMW M Performance Parts Race Series. Definitely going to be one of the favorites. Oh, and we've got it is a big crash coming out. That's certainly going to stop the race or bring out the double yellows. Wow, that was at quite a speed. And it looked like it was... Is it our race leader? It's a massive impact. No, it's further back, in fact. So it looks like the 21 was involved as well. So this is further back in the field. It looked like one of the Leroux brothers that was going off there, but it wasn't. It was a bit further back in the field. And that's a large crash coming into the first corner at Crowthorne. That's certainly going to bring out the safety car. And here we go, confirmation from the safety car. So huge impact there onto Crowthorne as the car's gone straight on. Right, we're going to cross over to the pits. Ricky is down there. We hope to chat to our race winner from the CompCare Polo Cup. It's Davy van der Merwe.
Thank you so much, Gary. Yeah, I'm here with a very excited Davy van der Merwe, and very understandably so. In free practice, you were 3rd and 4th. You qualified 2nd, and then all of a sudden you decided that this is your race and you're going to take it. Take me through your thought process.
Yeah, luckily we had a good start, so we just had to manage from there. The safety car helped us definitely. For 3 laps we could have just cooled down the car and just pushed from there. So yeah, looking forward to tomorrow. It's going to be tricky. Luckily we've managed the tires quite good for tomorrow. So yeah, let's see what happens tomorrow and just work from there.
So no pressure, but you think you're going to be able to do it again tomorrow? I mean, I know we're hoping so, obviously. But what are your thoughts on how possible that's going to be?
I think we'll see when the lights go out. So I think that's our only hope for tomorrow. But yeah, looking forward and yeah, just see what we can do.
Amazing. I'm very excited to see. You know, the one thing is that you were on the track. You were going 3rd, 4th, you know, and I was kind of keeping an eye on you to see if you'd be able to take over Schalfisser, but you managed to do that, so I'm really excited to see if you're going to do it tomorrow as well. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Ricky. Davy van der Merwe there picking up the opening race weekend victory in the CompCare Polo Cup. The CompCare Polo Cup, a breeding ground of amazing stars of South African motorsport. Think of the van der Lindes who've come through there. We had chatted to Tasman Pepper a bit earlier on. And certainly one of these names could be there alongside some of the greats of South African motorsport. And could be Davy van der Merwe in the Northern Motorsport GTI. So their race tomorrow coming up for you at 9:35. Right, we've got full course yellow. We've got 2 cars on the track that would need to be removed. The one is on the support race pit straight. The second, unfortunately, going on in quite a heavy collision on Crowthorne. And there we can see it. In fact, folks, it is the 126, and that is Rick Leroux. It looked like it when I did the opening race. In fact, when they first saw the scenes of the accident, it looked like Rick's car. And there we go, confirmation. The man who was leading is now out. And it's a heavy impact. And that's a trying to recover. I haven't seen him get out the car just yet, but big drama here in the opening race of the BMW M Performance Parts Race Series for round 2. It's the opening race of the weekend, and the 51 cars dwindling down. We started with 59 on Wednesday. A couple of cars unfortunately having problems and had to pull out, and we're down now to 50. In fact, another 2 cars out, so more changes coming here. But fantastic to see the fans coming out to support lots of lovers of BMWs, and lovely to see. And it is a red flag. Confirmation there that the race will be stopped now with 13 minutes to go. Not sure that we'll be able to get back for a continuation of this one. So let's give you an update as to where the positions are before we went into that incident. So we've got the brother Paulo Loureiro in first, ahead of Leon Loubser, the 66 in second. The 146 then promoted up into third in the A class. The 146, that is Leighton Fourie in the Express Hire BMW F30. In the B class, it's still the 116 of Lyle Ramsey, the E36 325i Turbo. He's looking very strong all weekend long. Almost pushing onto the pace of the A class, but he's leading the B class. Second in class is the 12, and that is Van der Berg in the BMW E36 M3 Turbo. In third place in class is Andreas Meyer, who's fallen back a little bit. He's now currently sitting in third in the B class. That's the BMW E36 STC. In your C class, these are your drivers who are posting lap times between 2:02 and a 2:08 around Kyalami. We've got the 27 of Hilligan, who's Alan Hilligan, currently leading the way. So he's really not been in the front running at all this weekend. So that's a fantastic result for the BMW E46. Van der Merwe, the 94, then in second place. The 94, Hein van der Merwe, the E36 in second. And 75 then, it's De Wit Oosthuizen and the share tracking BMW E92 in third place in the C class. And there we go, we're going into the pits now for our drivers with 13 minutes to go and a tight schedule here. We might not get back racing for this first race. I'll continue then just giving you updates as the various classes. Of course, in the D class, it was the 330 of Manny Ribeiro there in the BMW Car Club Gauteng in the BMW E46. That's second in class, and third is the 36 class, third in class there, and that is Farhan Ibrahim, the car collector. Right, we're crossing over to Ricky in the pits. Ricky, what have you got for us?
Okay, so I've got Andre Diederik here, who came off early. He came second in the last race at SupaCup. So what has happened? I'm sure it's quite disappointing, but you seem very calm and happy, so I'm happy to see that.
Well, at least the car was running while I was coming in, but on the track it just died down, and I was actually gained a lot of positions. I started 32nd, and I'm sure I was up to about 15th or somewhere. But yeah, I don't know what happened. It just cut out and I had to come in. I'm coming from Cape Town, so I would like to take the car back in one piece. So yeah, it is a fun day, great day at Kyalami, and we thank all the people involved for the sponsors and everybody for having us on this day. It's really, for us racers, it's a great time to be out here and to enjoy the track. This is a first class track. This is world class. So to race here, it's really a privilege.
Yeah, I think it's great that obviously you can still enjoy the experience. Even though something like this has happened, you do have another chance tomorrow. So hopefully that will be a better outcome.
Well, even if I push the car out of the pits tomorrow, I will start. I'm still trying to do something and I love it. So yeah, hopefully I'll be back tomorrow.
That's amazing. I love that. That's definitely what life's about, living it to the fullest, doing what makes your heart happy, and just your smile just makes me happy. So I can't wait to see you tomorrow, and yeah, I'll chop with him and see what.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ricky. So there we go. Confirmation, ladies and gentlemen, the race has ended now. There's not going to be enough time to restart the race. I've got a little view down at Crowthorne, the first corner, where our leader, Rick Loureiro, unfortunately has gone straight on and they are trying to recover that car. Of course, hitting the barriers, safety comes first, and so they'll want to make sure that that is all sorted. So disappointment then for the Lariro brothers, who really we're hoping to dominate. They have dominated all weekend long. So we've got unofficial results then coming through with Lariro. He's the younger brother, Paulo, who's now taken the race victory. Unfortunately, just 5 laps into that race, and with the tight schedule, we won't be able to restart. In second place, it's Leon Loubser in the 66 of Leon Loubser, the Bid Wheels E92 BMW in second overall. And it's going to be the 146 of Fourie, the 146 of Leighton Fourie, the Express Hire BMW F30. He's going to finish a third on the podium. Of course, a bit later on, we've got Bernard de Gouveia. He's chairman of the BMW M Performance Parts Race Series, who's going to come and join me just after 2 o'clock to give us a little update as to this exciting growing series. Well, 59 cars arriving this weekend. We were down to 51 at the start of the race, and unfortunately, 2 or 3 more casualties at the moment. Right, so we're going to turn our attention this afternoon, of course, to some more local racing for you. GTC and the SupaCup on the way. Robert Volk, the man to beat, the defending champion. He's dominated all weekend long, and he looks like he could be the man to beat in this opening race. The SupaCup's going to be very close. We've got 3 exciting drivers who've been swapping quickest times. Keegan Campos, Jonathan Machotsi, and Brad Liebenberg. You know, Brad Liebenberg's always going to be there. And then we've got Mobil1 V8 Series coming your way at 2 here at the Kyalami 9 Hour. We then cross over to our Kyalami 9 Hour, our main race commentary team, who will be taking us into the qualifying session this afternoon. That comes up your way at 3 o'clock. Then we've got all 3 drivers taking part in that. Then they'll take the average best time of those 3 drivers, and then that'll decide the grid for tomorrow's start at 1 o'clock for the Kyalami 9 Hour. The race is back. I'll be back in just after 4 o'clock this afternoon. It is the InvestChem F1600 and the FF Kent, and it is race 1 coming up your way this afternoon. We've got a couple of hot laps for our VIP guests and some stunning Ferraris that'll be taking them around the track. And then we're back for the Wild Rose Gin Sports and GT race. Originally put down for an hour-long race, but unfortunately some of the cars that have arrived don't have a petrol tank that's big enough for an hour-long race, and so they will be splitting that into 2 30-minute races. Certainly no place here for refueling, and cars coming in during that race. So the Wild Rose Gin Sports and GT race coming away a little bit later on. And this is an exciting race. It's been gathering some of the top racers from around the country, down from Western Cape up to Gauteng, and inviting them to come and take part in this event. So that's going to round up in the sunset this evening as we look down back on the track. A hot day here at Kyalami from Leeuwkop, a stunning part of the track.
We've got about 1.5. I will hand over back to FCC.
Then we're going to run through the schedule for you tomorrow. It's day 2 here at the Kyalami 9 Hour. Of course, the Motor Fest taking place as well. Ricky will give us an update from what's all happening here by the skid pan. And yeah, we've got a couple of displays as well. But tomorrow morning we get underway at 10 to 8. It's the InvestChem F1600 and FF Kent race starting us off. Then the BMW M Performance Parts Race Series second race. It's going to be 50 plus cars getting underway in that one. The Mobil1 V8 comes your way at 9 o'clock tomorrow. At 9:35, it's the second race for the CompCare Polo Cup. And Davy van der Merwe will be looking for a second race victory. GTC and SupaCup then comes up just after 10:30. And then we get ready for the iconic Kyalami 9 Hour. We take a short lunch break. We're back shortly with GTC and SupaCup here at the Kyalami 9 Hour. See you then. Welcome back to the Kyalami 9 hour. A beautiful sunny afternoon here at the Kyalami circuit. Temperature outside 30 degrees, raised temperature now 55 degrees on track. And the action has certainly been hot as we've enjoyed our first two races. The CompCare Polo Cup, of course, seeing a bit of action. I had a car going off earlier on, so we only had about half of the distance. And now recently the BMW sports race. Unfortunately, our leader, Rick Lerero, unfortunately going off on the first corner. But the marshals have done an outstanding job. They managed to clear the track and put the barrier back, and we're all set to go for this afternoon's session. It's the GTC and GTC Cup up next, the Super Cup. Robert Volk, of course, the defending champion. He's looking very strong, dominated all weekend. He'll be first up in the GTC. And then we've got the Mobil1 V8 Series, the loud monsters of the track. And we can't wait to see some iconic names coming back to the circuit. They're talking about a watershed season for Mobil1 V8 Series. I'll also have a very special guest joining me over this next session, and that is the man who leads the BMW series. He's the chairman. He'll be joining us and telling us about how he managed to get 59 cars to join us this weekend for the Kyalami 9 hour. I've got Ricky down in the pit lane as well, giving us updates with the various. And of course, we've got the Kyalami 9 hour Motorsport Festival as well taking place as well. So if you're looking for some amazing action, some of the best drivers in the world, including our very own Sheldon van der Linde, who'll be in the BMW a bit later on this afternoon for qualifying, then make sure you get your tickets and come and join us for an action-packed full day on Saturday. Let's run through some of the action then to look out for this afternoon. Of course, we've got the GTC and SupaCup coming up next. Then it's the Mobil1 V8 Series. Then we go to qualifying for the Kyalami 9 hour. At 3 o'clock, the first driver will get his chance to post his best lap time. Then at 3:22, the second driver. And then finally, the third driver at 4:45. Average best time will then decide the grid for tomorrow's 1 o'clock start for the 2023 Kyalami 9 hour. But we're not done after that. Of course, we're back for race 1 of the InvestChem F1600 and FF Kent Plus race. And this is a race that's seen as an opportunity for some of the young, inspiring and exciting young drivers to get an opportunity to win some prize money and an opportunity to get themselves into this next race, the GTC. Looking across now at the track, we can see the cars getting ready to come onto the circuit shortly for GTC and SupaCup. A little bit later on then, of course, we've got still the big one, the Wild Rose Gin Sports and GT. It's a race that's been set up just for the Kyalami 9 hour, and it's bringing together some drivers and their cars from the Western Cape, up in Gauteng as well, and they'll be joining for one exciting race a little bit later on. It was originally going to be an hour-long race, by the way, and we've got some iconic cars there, cars taking back to 1974. But those cars, unfortunately, don't have fuel tanks that can last an hour, so the race has been split up into two 30-minute races, and there'll be a little bit of a break, a little bit between that. So that's going to conclude for today. Ricky Brest down in the pit lane. Ricky, what have you got for us?
Thank you so much. I've got Dean Fenter here from who's just come from the F1600s, right? And tell me about your qualifying. No, I know, but you were there, so I just wanted to introduce where you've come from. So tell me about your race and how it went, and what are you looking forward to?
Well, it's always a treat to come to Kyalami, but first race didn't go too well. Not a great start, guy in front of me bogged down, and then there was an incident at the S's, so I lost a couple of positions. So, yeah. Okay, and
so tell me, what are your plans for tomorrow's race? Are you going to change anything, or just kind of stick with the same thing and just hope for the best?
Well, we're waiting for the grid for the second race, so hopefully we're up a little bit further, and then just try and get out of the mess. So yeah, let's just push towards the front.
Okay, amazing. Well, I'm going to come and chat to you tomorrow and see what happens. Back to you, Graham.
Thank you, Ricky. And of course, you can see out on the track now our GTC and the SupaCup cars coming out. Of course, they're some of our Polo Cup cars and drivers. Ricky's chatting to some of them. And of course, it was a difficult race. It was planned for 8-9 laps, unfortunately shortened to about half distance because of an incident early on. We had a similar story in the BMW race, which just took place. And looking for a full race now as we head to the 7th season of GTC. Kicking off here at the Kyalami 9 hour. The SupaCup, of course, getting underway as well. So 2 categories to look out for. And we've got Global Touring cars back here at Kyalami. Always good to see. Who's the man to beat? Robert Volk, of course, the number one chemical logistics Toyota Corolla. It's going to be an interesting season for him because he's talking of changing machinery halfway through the year. He might be dominating and not want to, but talks of him moving into another vehicle through the season. The man alongside him will be Saeed Varaba in the Toyota Gazoo Racing. This is the factory cars that are here. There's 3 of them from Toyota Gazoo Racing. Natim Samanga as well, and Michael van Rooyen. Now, van Rooyen is a third on the grid as we get ready for the GTC race. In the Super Cup, there's 3 names to look out for. Mr. Keegan Campos, who put it on pole position for Campos Racing. Alongside him, Jonathan Mahotsi, who is such an exciting talent for South African racing. And Mr. Bradley Liebenberg, he's in the Hyper Energy Drinks VW Super Polo. You know, if Bradley's in the race, he's always going to be there. It's great to have him back in the Super Cup. Keegan Masters will be a name that many recognize. Wasn't originally put down to race this weekend, but he's being asked at the last moment to come into one of those Trinity Protection Services Super Cup polos. And you know that this man is so full of talent. He'll be coming through the field. So look out for Keegan Masters as well. So 7th season of GTC getting underway. There goes the front pace car. And the cars will be coming around now onto the main straight. Robert Volk is the man to beat. He's looked very, very strong throughout the weekend. And when he was struggling, he managed to still find the pace. So they'll come through now for a formation lap. All the cars getting an opportunity to find their positions. Andrew Rackstraw is one to look out for in the VW GTR. Also someone who's planning to change his car through the season. He's got a busy local and international schedule lined up. And he'll be joining me this afternoon just after 4 o'clock during the F1600 commentating session. So Andrew Rackstraw in the Sparco RDSA VW GTI. So all set to go then now as the cars make their way past the Crowthorne corner. We had an incident earlier there. Marshall's done an outstanding job to get everything ready, and we're all set to go. Right, we've got a big field then in the Super Cups. Calvin Diaz in the number 7, Keegan Masters in the number 10 Trinity Protection Services vehicle, Nathan Hammond alongside him. Brad Liebenberg, as mentioned, he's one to keep an eye out for in the Hyper Energy Drinks Polo. Jonathan Mahotsi, he's racing the factory Volkswagen Motorsport Polo. JP van der Walt in the Platinum Wheels, and Dominic Diaz in the Chemi Liquid Energy. Tate Bishop in the Angry Racing vehicle. There we go. We've got the teams lining up on the support race pit start. And then Tato Corello in the VW Polo number 100. Stefan Snyders is the only Masters in this category in the Telerex Polo. One man missing is Julian van der Walt. Unfortunately, a big crash yesterday has ruled him out in the InvestChem Chemical Logistics Ford Focus RS. Wishing him all the best in his recovery. And Julian, we're certainly missing you and looking forward to seeing you back soon. So cars lined up then, they'll set themselves into the right order. As you can see, Robert Volk in the Chemical Logistics Toyota Corolla. He's the defending champion, and he'll be leading them out as the pace car takes us around onto the main straight, and we get things underway. Race 1 then for the GTC. We've got race 2 coming up tomorrow, a feature race at 20 to 11. So make sure you get your tickets and head down to Kyalami and the 9-hour festival. It's a warm day, track temperature sitting over 55 degrees at the moment, so it'd be interesting to see how our 9-hour cars perform under those temperatures. Of course, qualifying is when it's all about to decide where you'll be on the grid, and all eyes will be on Mr. Sheldon van der Linde, the South African who is the DTM champion. He finished 4th out in Bathurst in the same team car, and he'll be looking for a big result this weekend. So all set to go. We've got green flags, and we're behind the pace car as we set off for GTC and the Super Cup. It's the 7th season, many seeing it as a season of having settled down. We've got a slow start here from the Corolla, and this is now Saud Riara. There he gets going now, so we are underway. We'll have an opportunity to catch up and then head down to join the likes of Robert Volk on the front row. They make their way now past a sunset, and of course we'll be heading over up to Lukop, the old West Bank corner. There's an amazing spot there. If you've never been to Kyalami, you've got to head up there and see some of the original track. It's still there, and some of the amazing history that's part of this iconic circuit. So there we go, cars coming around now through the S's. We'll be all set to go. We'll be welcoming a very special guest shortly, Bernard Gouveia. He's the chairman of the BMW series. and find out about the series, and also joining me in the commentary alongside as we go into the GTC and the Super Cup. Don't forget, Mobil1 V8 Series race is up next. Mackie Adlam looking for his 7th title. Yeah, 6 years in a row. He's already had to replace the gearbox once this weekend, so let's see if he can continue with his domination in that stunning Jaguar XKR. Right, cars lining up now, coming down the mine shaft. These are your GTC top contenders. Of course, Julian van der Rat not there, certainly missing him, and wishing him all the best in his recovery. Right, lining up then, we've got the 6-strong field getting ready to go at the opening round of the 2023 GTC season, the 7th season of the series, and the Super Cups will be following close behind. Pace car will peel away as he goes through Cheetah. Robert Volk will be leading them in that chemical logistics. So pace-wise, we're looking around 149, 150 for our leaders. You see a bit of a gap there between the two series, and of course it always plays a role later on. Right, round Ingwe, the final corner. And there we got the cars coming now. There we come around Ingwe now. And all set to go. Opening round of 2023. It's GTC. Eyes on the lights. Still red, red, red. And away we go for 2023 GTC Super Cup. And it is the 7th season of the race. And here come the Super Cup cars. The Super Polos now led by Keegan Campos. And it's Robert Volk who's going to take the lead, take the inside line. Said Varawa is going to take an outside line. He might lose that second place. And in fact, he does. It's close racing. And Robert Volk looks like he's going to take the inside line. No, it's Said Varawa. A stunning change of lead there in the barbecue corner as they head down onto the back straight. So there we go, mixing it up. The youngsters, they're not going to let Robert Volk get away with it. He's got the inside line though, Robert going into sunset. In the Super Cups there, we're going to see lots of cars touching that gravel there just on the outside of the corner. Robert Volk looks like he's under pressure here from possibly Michael van Rooyen as well. So the Toyota Corolla is looking very strong in this early part of the race. Andrew Rackstraw, certainly one to look out for as well. He's got a habit of pulling out some stunning laps times as well, and we'll keep an eye out for him. So it looks like Van Rooyen there in third, just behind Volk, the championship leader, as they go, or the defending champion rather. It looks like he's back onto the pace now. Going down the mine shaft, it's going to be full taps for these GTCs as the Super Polos make their way up. And it's still Keegan Campos. There we go, ahead of Magotsi in second place. All right, starting to get some lap times now. And looks like Bradley Liebenberg possibly dropped back a position. We'll get confirmation as they come through the start, as they head down as well. So there we go. It's Saud going through the crocodiles into Cheetah, and opening up a gap already from Robert Volk. We know Robert, he's not going to let them get away with that. Andrew looking for a dive down the inside, and yeah, they go down the main straight. So there we go. Yeah, stunning opening lap here in GTC, and it is Saud Varawa on a 154.3 ahead of Robert Volk. Michael van Rooyen in third ahead of Andrew Rackstraw in the Sparco RDSA. We've got Nati Samanga then in fifth place and ahead of the number 6 of Josh LaRue, the Formula 1600 champion, making his way up to GTC. And then we've got the first of the Super Polos. It's Campos leading the way, and he's ahead of Magotsi, and it's still Bradley Liebenberg then in third place. No changes there from the grid start. It's all action though in the GTC. Now we're going to see Robert Volk's pedigree coming through. The Chemical Logistics Toyota Corolla driver, the defending champion. He's not going to let Saud get away, and expect to see an exciting race coming up for us over the next couple of laps. I've got Bernard Gouveia joining me in a short while. He is the chairman of the BMW series, to come and chat to us about that series as we get to enjoy the GTC and the Super Cup. Stunning sounds, of course. A lot of people not sure how do we differentiate the Polo Cup and the Super Polos. Of course, the Super Polos have got that rear wing, so you would spot them quickly by noticing the rear wing versus the Polo Cup that don't have that rear wing. So Variawa then still got that 0.6 seconds gap. He's opened up to 0.7 now as the cars climb up to the top of the track at Leeuwkop and make their way down mine shaft. In the GTC Super Cup, it's still Campos. He's got a 0.3 second lead over Magotsi, and Liebenberg another 0.3 seconds back. Oh, here we go. We called it. Robert Volk. He's not going to let Said get away. and already looking for an opportunity to pass. He's looking at the outside line. Could be the quicker racing line, and so he goes to defend. Runs a little wide and could compromise him as they head down into the first corner, as they go down the kink and into Crowthorne. Does look like the Toyota, though, has a bit more pace down there. Seems like it almost pulls away. Van Rooyen still in third, but he's under pressure, and here comes Simanga. Looks like he's making a dive onto Rackstraw. Volk right up on the tail now of Saeed Varawa. And where's the best place for him to take, possibly then going into club? And there indeed we get confirmation there. Simanga going through past Rackstraw. We can see it on track. The timing will pick up now. But the Toyota Corolla is looking very strong. In fact, that's Toyota Corolla's 1, 2, 3, 4 on the track at the moment. Andrew just falling back there. And Josh LaRue, the Formula 1600 champion, moving up to GTC. You can see he's struggling a bit with the pace. It's still Campos leading the Super Cup ahead of Mahotsi and Liebenberg, with Diaz up into 4th place. Through the S's now, coming up to the top of the course. It's Leeuwkop, the old West Bank corner, looking for your braking spots. Wow, and he is right on his tails. All set to go then. Could be a dive going down into the Cheetahs. It's turned an ugly weekend, though, for some down at that corner as we get ready for round 1 here of GTCs. 19 minutes to go. No, he's not close enough, and it's still Saud comfortably in the lead. So Virawa then with the gap then, the gap seems to close down as we go into the tighter corners, the second half of the lap, but then opens up on the main straight. So it does seem like the Toyota Corolla has got a bit more pace, and it's Van Rooyen now coming under pressure from Simanga. Andrew Rackstraw then back into 5th. The young F1600 champion Josh LaRue is in 5th place. A bit of a baptism of fire here for the 1600 champion. Robert Volk, once again, he seems to really close up in this part of the track. That seems like his best overtaking point there in front of the fans at Barbecue. Could be for an exciting race. Oh, and we've got a challenge for the lead in the Super Cup as well. Keegan Campos under big pressure from Jonathan Mahotsi. And Bradley Lieberg seems to be falling back off the pace a bit. Diaz still into 4th place. I've got Bernard de Gouveia joining me, chairman of the BMW series. Bernard, you with me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear.
There we go. Nice to have you with us.
Yeah, thanks, man.
An action-packed first race for the second round of the season. Do you have just a quick update? Rick, everyone all right?
Yeah, I haven't seen him. I just spoke to his brother quick. He said he's doing okay. We're standing next to the car. I think his leg's a bit sore or something. But yeah, I saw a little footage of it. He went quite fast into that turn 2 there, yeah. It's notorious bend that for cars.
For Crowthorne, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Listen, 59 cars out here at Kyalami now. Is this a record? Is this what you guys are used to?
I believe it should be a record. I think they've had 55 cars here before. I had 50 cars here at the M-Fest, and my aim was to get 60. I did have about 68, but I had a few withdrawals. But
no, 59, we'll give it to you. We'll give it to you.
Yeah, like I said last year, with this interview last year, I wanted to bring that Group N days back, you know, and I wanted the 60 cars. I almost got it.
Well, in the end, it was 51 that started the grid.
Yeah, we had a few withdrawals, you know, with this heat. You know, our cars are sprint cars, so yeah. And then we're not these professionals like on track now. We're a club still, although we've got regional status, and yeah, we're growing. I mean, the last event at Passion for Speed, we had 57 entries. So yeah, I stand to be corrected, but I think we are the largest category now in the country.
That's incredible. And what's it like to get into this? I mean, do you need racing background or you need a car?
Well, originally the race series started from track days, BMW Car Club track days. Kyalami used to be our home base before Mr. Fenter bought it. Used to be our home base, and yeah, we started with track days, and the guys started getting serious. You know, putting roll cages in cars and going balls to the wall.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then they said, let's go race. And yeah, then the race series started, and it's just been growing and growing. And Yeah, we had a sponsor for about 15 years. Unfortunately, they pulled out about 2-3 years ago. And BMW came on board. We're one of the few OEMs in the country that's being sponsored by an OEM.
That's amazing.
So, yeah, BMW M Performance Parts Race Series. It's a mouthful, but that's our category.
That's incredible. In fact, a little bird told me that we could see our GTC champion in a BMW later this season.
He was in the race. Leighton Fourie. Yeah, so Leighton Fourie, he's going to go race BMW M2 Cup in Europe.
Wow.
So, yeah, I think he just wants to get a bit of feel for rear-wheel drive cars, and he's come to join us for probably half the rounds or so, depending on his commitments overseas.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's just a quick update here on the roads, on the race rather. It's still Said Varawa, half a second lead over Michael van Rooyen in third. And in the Super Cup, very close, you can see Keegan Campos desperately holding off Jonathan Machotsi. Such an amazing talent for South African racing. And we've got 6 of 8 laps that have taken place. So, Bernard, I mean, if I have a BMW, can I join you guys?
Of course, yes. Look, with our track days, you can come with any car. We don't discriminate, you can come with any car, but that's just for track days. But for the BMW M Performance Parts Race Series, BMW car, BMW chassis, BMW motor, obviously. So don't come with a E46 with a 2JZ in it, we won't allow it. So,
you'll spot it straight away under the bonnet. You guys have a sixth sense about what's in there.
I like my originality. If you saw my car, it's like, it must be original.
There we go on the track. Said Varawa just getting for the first time, picking up the quickest lap. It's been Robert Volk who's been very quick all along, and you can start to see a bit of a gap opening up. So, I mean, a fantastic day for you guys. I mean, it must be really special to be at the 9 hour.
Yeah, look, we've been fortunate enough. This is our 10th round at the new Kyalami. We've raced here every single year, some years twice. And the 9 hour last year was our first one. It was special. And again, this year it was special. The only thing is this heat. I just got out of the race car now, and it's,
What does it do to your car? You had a free practice yesterday. You had qualifying this morning, very different conditions. So what does it do? Oh, we've got a collision here. It looks like Andrew Rackstraw and Simanga that might have come together. Let's see if we can get those cars started there. That's out at the start of the Crocodiles.
Stuck.
Oh, he's just got the back of the car into the gravel. And in fact, that is Van Rooyen, the 95. He's got it going. He's got it going. We'll just wait for confirmation that Rackstraw continued as well. So, bit of incidents here. We've had incidents throughout the races so far today because the track lends to that. I mean, there's so many racing lines one can take. I think particularly down at the Crocodiles as well. Hey?
Yeah, that's quite intense. I'm going down through the mine shaft. I've got a small issue with my car. It jumps out of 5th gear. Don't ask me why. So I'm holding 5th gear and going one-handed around there. And then you got to now start braking for the Crocodiles. So yeah, there's quite a few different lines to go through there. But yeah, it's very wide. It's a bit forgiving. Yeah.
So do you lift through the mine shaft? Come on now, be honest.
With my old motor, I didn't. I've now got the proper M3 motor in my car, so I'm a bit tentative because I'm going to do one-handed.
Yeah, absolutely.
But,
all right, Lex, we're on to the penultimate lap here at the opening round of the 7th season of GTC and the Super Cup. And this is where the race is at. It's Keegan Campos leading in the Super Cup, and Jonathan Machotsi hot on his tail. Out in the front in the GTC, it's still Said Varawa, who's got a comfortable 0.8 second lead over Robert Volk, the defending champion, who was close to him at 1 point, but has not been able to close the gap. Unfortunately, Michael van Rooyen spinning out. He's rejoined down in 12th place, but it is Nati Simanga who's going to pick up a famous podium here if he can hold on to 3rd place. And the Josh LaRue, the 1600 champion rather, sitting in 4th place. Rackstraw involved in that incident earlier with Van Rooyen. So that's how they are currently standing as the Super Cups head over to Leeuwkop and down the mine shaft. Wonderful to see so many different categories here. I mean, would want to make you push to go for 70 cars next year, huh?
Yeah, look, I suppose I could, but then we'd have to split the race. So
yeah.
Actually, this will be the only race this year that we have all 5 classes combined. For all the other events, it's A, B, and C, and then split D and E on their own.
Yeah.
So we will have like 4 races per event, basically.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And how many rounds have you got this season?
Well, we've got 8. We're doing one for the first time, a coastal round. We're going to PE in September. And then the rest is up here in Pakisa as well, obviously. That's the furthest we go is basically Pakisa, but we're doing a coastal round this year.
All right, and a BMW owner down in Nelson Mandela Bay, can they join?
Well, as long as they conform to our rules and regs, they're welcome to join. I have got interest from the guys down in PE
Fantastic.
and all that. They want to join us as well.
Fantastic.
So we don't chase people away.
Right, we're going to come back to Bernard de Gavia. He's the chairman of the BMW race from earlier today, because we're onto the final lap of GTC and the Super Cup. Don't go anywhere, Bernard, because we've got to tackle you about these classes and how you guys decide. But here we go. Jonathan Machotsi looking for an inside line. You're not going to get it on Sunset, but he'll be looking for the racing line as they head into club. 3 wheels around that corner. And here we go. This could be maybe his last opportunity. Now you'll definitely look at the Crocodiles as they skid through there. Still got Variawa, who's now opened up a 1.2 second lead at the lead of the GTCs. This is the 7th season of Global Touring Cars. And Natsi Tsamanga, who's got a famous podium, if he can hold on in these last few corners. Josh LaRue still then in 4th, the F1600 champion, moving up to GTC. He's in the Chemical Logistics Audi. Andrew Rackstraw, unfortunately, having an incident. He's dropped back, as has Michael van Rooyen. And there we go, a race victory then. It's going to be a famous one. In fact, it's going to be a fantastic start to the weekend for the Toyota Gazoo Racing team, as Variawa and, of course, Simanga get onto the podium. Here we go. This is where the race is at. Can we have a final dart from Kamotz? He looked for it, but Campos closed the gap there. And one fears Ingwe. I mean, is it an overtaking spot, Ingwe?
Well, that's actually Cheetah. Ingwe's the last corner. So,
yeah, here we go. So Ingwe, here comes Ingwe now.
Yeah.
Is this an opportunity?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, but it looks like it's not going to happen. It's going to be Keegan Campos who's going to make it through for a victory here in the opening round of the 2023 GTC SupaCup. And coming home ahead there of Jonathan Machotsi, Brady Liebenberg in 3rd. That's how they started on the grid. That's how they're going to finish the first round of the GTC SupaCup. First round for the weekends. Of course, they'll be back tomorrow at around 20 minutes away from 11. Van Rooyen then finishing down in 12th. Diaz in 13th. And Keegan Masters, who got a late call-up to come and take part, is down in 14th place. We're going to turn our attention to the Mobil1 V8 Series in a short moment. Let's quickly talk then, Bernard, about this 5 categories and how you decide who goes into what category. In fact, what category did you race in today?
Well, I got a new engine in my car, so I came here not knowing which class. So basically, you start in E, and then you check what times you do. And I was in D yesterday, but then qualifying, I went into C. So I had to go into C.
So you were in C today?
Yeah, so I went into C. So I'm quite chuffed with myself getting that car into C. So yeah, basically we got breakout times for each track, and obviously, like I said, we've got 5 classes, and class A there's no breakout. There you can go as fast as you want. Those are those fast cars like the Lerera brothers have, Leon, and they are on full slicks, any brand of full slick. But classes B, C, D, and E, they are on bridged. They were on Bridgestone.
Yeah, I'm assuming Dunlop with your hat that you're wearing.
Dunlop. We've changed over to Dunlop this year. So all the cars aren't on Dunlop yet. Our container hasn't arrived.
Okay.
So from the next race, everyone will be on Dunlops.
Right, so here we go. It's just a race result. We'll come back to you now, Bernard. So it's Virawa in first place there, coming home ahead of the defending champion, Robert Volk, 1.5 seconds. So he really decided to settle for second. Nati Samanga with a famous Toyota Corolla Gazoo Racing Factory, 3rd place. In the end, Rackstraw to settle for 4th, unfortunately coming together with Michael van Rooyen, who's down in 12th. And Josh LaRue, the young the F1600 champion, rather, making his way in the Chemical Logistics Audi, settling for a 5th place. Keegan Campos then taking a narrow victory over Jonathan Machotsi, Brady Liebenberg in 3rd. That's how they started on the grid, and that's how they finished the race. Have a look at some of the highlights then from your GTC and SupaCup championships. We had close racing from the start. Robert Volk starting on pole position. And he just left the door open maybe a little bit too much. But those Corollas seem to have had the top speed today. and really putting pressure on Robert going into the first corner. You can see 3 next to each other there as they were coming down into the first corner. This is just an image back from them starting, lining up at the support race pits. There we can see now the Super Cups coming through that first Crowthorne, or rather barbecue corner. And that was when we saw a change in the lead for the GTCs, but in the Super Cup, they've stayed as they started. Michael van Rooyen there going through in 3rd place. He would unfortunately have an incident later on. Jonathan Machotsi was looking for the inside line there against Kevin Campos. He tried many times, but didn't manage to do it. And then we're coming into the final stages. And there it was, Michael van Rooyen. He must have had an incident with Andrew Rackstraw, who joins me a bit later on. And then it was King Campos in the Super Cup coming through Copley. And there's famous victory then for Said Virawa, opening round of 2023. Right, I've got Bernard Gouveia here, the chairman of the BMW opening race. It's a stunning race. In fact, I saw more fans taking cameras out to take the photograph of these 51 cars down the start line. So quite impressive stuff. And this is what you were after, weren't you?
Yeah, I wanted my 60. I'm a bit disappointed still.
No.
No, but I'm very chuffed. You know, the guys have come and they've joined, and we've got a lot of new guys joining. And yeah, the series has just grown. I was never expecting it to become this big. And it's gotten there. So yeah,
fantastic. All right, yeah. I still want to pick your brain about this qualifying with 5 different classes and the times. It's still fascinating that you've worked this out, and it's different for every track, I'm assuming.
Yeah, we've got different times for every track. Like for example, if you go faster than a 156, you have to go into Class A.
Yes.
And then you can go into slicks. Say faster than a 202, you have to go into Class B, for example.
Absolutely, yeah. And we had lots of changing through the week.
We just had about 3 or 4 changes. Yeah, most of the guys, after the first race, they settle into their classes, and because we've worked out all the tracks over the years, so we've sort of got our breakout times in line.
Right, on track, of course, the Mobil1 V8 Series. It's the 5th year that Mobil1 have partnered up alongside Africa Group Lubricants as partners. Many calling this a watershed here for Mobil1 V8 Series. And of course, it's that Mackie Adlam, the number 1 car. There he is. You can see him coming through there. Quite a famous livery. In fact, if you get to the pits, he's got a whole crowd with him. There's memorabilia. There's a whole fad going alongside of fans who's part of the Mackie Adlam show.
No, he's actually quite a great guy to talk to and stuff. I've been to his workshop. One of the cleanest workshops I've ever seen in my life.
Well, 6 times champion, looking for his 7th title. When I saw in the first free practice, I thought, who's this guy? He was struggling because he had a gearbox failure.
Yeah, I spoke to him just before the race. He said he had some issues and he was starting in 3rd. So, and if you look just in front of him, ex-BMW champion. Julian Familiaris, our 2016 BMW Race Series champion. So yeah, he cut his teeth in our series. Yeah.
You really like your BMs,
and I don't know is David Coetzee racing today. I don't think so.
Unfortunately
he's also from the BMW Race Series.
Yeah, so it's Mackie Adlam, of course, our 6 times champion. Franco Di Matteo, we won to watch in the Jaguar as well. He had a broken steering pump on Wednesday. Mackie had a broken gearbox, so they've had a bit of a difficult start, but they'll be up front there. I mean, these guys have got some loud pedals on their cars, eh? Oh, absolutely stunning.
They don't call them Rolling Thunder for nothing.
And we've got Warren Lombard in the Pep Boys Automotive Ford Falcons. He's the number 6 car, the number 7, Steve Herbst. He's in the PPG Coatings, pre-instrumentation QR Systems Corvette. He's the number 7 car. Number 9, Thomas Reeb, who actually led all through free practice. He's been the one to beat the Mobil1 Cafe 9 Automotive Lumina Chevy. Richard Fuller, who's racing not only here in this race, but you'll see him later on in the GT and Sports as well. He's trying to get as much track time as possible. He's in the Demtemasu GB Oil Ford Falcon. Then we've got Julian Familiaros, who apparently raced the BMW at some point. The Lubnet Di Matteo Racing Chevrolet Corvette, as the cars now fall into formation up at Lucorp. Terry Wilfred, wow. When I started watching racing as a kid, Terry Wilfred was around, eh?
He's dead, Larry.
Yeah, he's dead. Okay, all right.
Yeah, Terry's, I think he's in his 40s, yeah.
Yeah, Fuchs Lubricants Ford Mustang. Oh, we've got a car that's making a late entry onto the track, so we might have to do another formation lap or not. We'll keep you updated on that. And then we've got 2 international drivers joining here from Sweden. It's Sten Jarl in the number 7 Ford, in the 64 Ford Falcon rather. Ork Koopman, who's in the Ford Mustang Hurricane Automotive, and Sam Dahl in the Arc Pro Tech. Chatting to Franco earlier on, they're saying they're very excited about the season. They've got more cars joining the grid. Unfortunately, not for this opening round. But these boys are fast. A 1:48 was the quickest time in free practice. There's Mackie Adlam, so starting in 3rd. It's Thomas Reeve who's going to lead them out. So what's the relationship like between different sort of series? I mean, you obviously race at the same track on some weekends.
Yeah, no, look, everyone's quite friendly and there's a friendly banter between each other, you know. So, but, yeah, it's good. It's good, you know. Like I get along with some of these guys in the V8s and VW Challenge. It's a very similar sort of club to us. So yeah, it's a good vibe. It's at least the sport's growing.
Absolutely. Right, and as I predicted, they're going to do another lap, and this is because one of the cars has come out a bit late and just catching the back of the field. So we're going to have a delayed start here. So one more formation lap for the Mobil1 V8 Series. So next round for you guys for the BMWs?
Well, we've got a bit of a break now. We're off to Red Star Raceway in Delmas in 22nd of April. And then that's our 3rd round out of the 8 rounds for the year.
Okay. And some special cars on your grid. I mean, you've got a full range there from 2-seater coupes, Z4s to some beautiful, beautiful latest cars. I mean, it's a real celebration of the brand, isn't it?
Yeah, look, some people don't understand. You know, we'll have like an E30. We actually have one, an E30 with a 335 motor that came out in like 2013, those cars. So, yeah, they're allowed to swap and change the motor. So you don't have to have that model's motor. You could have a later model's motor, as long as it's a BMW, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, I can imagine fans watching here saying, I've always wanted to have a go at this, you know, looking at these various series. A lot of people say, well, Polo Cup is better, but there's something about, a car-specific series like the BMWs. There's a bit of a culture around it, a family vibe, and this is really what it's about. I mean, in fact, I just want to tell everybody, I was down in the pits the last 2 days. Drivers were helping each other about the best line around this place.
Not just that. I need a tyre. Yeah, have a tyre.
A tyre?
I need a clutch. You have a clutch. That's how it's like. That's the vibe there. They help each other, you know. So it is, like I said, it was a club. It is a club. It's a family type of environment. We have, we have breakfast runs. We have concours d'elegance, show and shine, that type of thing, and then track days and gymkhanas. You know, so it's a whole. And then obviously the race series came part of it. So. Yeah, it's a family thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, I needed a clutch for my car. Anyway, we'll talk about it afterwards.
Have you got a BM?
No.
Sorry.
Sorry, can't help you, eh?
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it looks like we've still got 2 cars trying to catch the back of the field. I think they might make it just as they head down.
So we can talk more about BMs and V8s.
Those Beamer fans. Yeah.
No, so just a bit more about the club. You know, if you guys want to come and join us, it's you know, to get into a Class E car, the slower cars, it's not that expensive, and to run it on a weekend, it's not that bad, you know. These national categories are a lot more expensive to run than we are. Look, your Class A cars are quite expensive to run, but to get into Class E, it's
absolutely
it's not cheap, but
here we go. Right, here we go, folks. Rolling Thunder, I believe you called it.
Yeah.
Here we go. Listen to this as they come through. And it's the number 9, Thomas Reeve, leading the field as they head down to the first corner. Look at Mackie. Is he going to make a move here onto that first corner? He's got the inside line. He's late on the brakes. No, Thomas. But Mackie up into... Oh, and Thomas has outbraked himself. It's always tricky coming back onto that corner because you can quite easily take somebody out.
Yeah, the speeds that they're going down there, I believe the GT3 cars are doing around 233 at the speed traps. I heard Rick and Paulo Loureiro are doing about 248. We're actually faster than them at the speed trap. So it's quite fast there, and if your brakes don't work like we saw, it's not fun.
Yeah, I fear the race result is done now. Mackie's in the lead and looking very comfortable and strong, eh?
What if Di Matteo is now going to start catching up?
Yeah, so the number 3, Franco Di Matteo, the Deltec Batteries Jaguar. You know that he's going to have a go, and yeah, looking strong. There's that number 3, Franco Di Matteo there. He's currently sitting in 5th position. Okay, so it's Adlam ahead of Reed. Familiaris, didn't he race BMWs, you said?
Yeah, he did. No, he's done quite well in this series. He's won a few rounds as well. So, yeah, it's great. He's always dreamed of going into the series. He used to always tell me this
is what he wanted.
Yeah, he always wanted to go race in V8s, and, yeah, live your dream.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think once you get into this, I think you're addicted. I think it's going to be quite hard to step down in any way in terms of the noise alone.
But I think sometimes he misses his turbocharged car. I don't know.
Right, Mackie Adlam then into Ingwe, the final corner, and down the main straight. He's already opening up again to Thomas Reeb. But I'm not expecting him to pull away too much, because Thomas has been the stronger driver so far this weekend. We know Mackie's a 6-time champion, but Thomas has had his way with this track so far this weekend.
Yeah, but I think when it counts, Mackie's there.
Yeah,
he's always there to win.
Familiaris in 3rd at the moment, ahead of Lombard. Keeping an eye out for the number 12, Richard Fuller. He's a man who's got a lot of racing this weekend, and I don't see him on the... I don't see him there. All right, but look there. This looks much closer now for Reeb. Looks like he's actually closed the gap, unless Mackie's made a little bit of a mistake.
Well,
that's probably my
yellow
favorite
flag.
one. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
All right, so definitely something has happened. We definitely had Richard Fuller on the grid, so something must have gone on. That looks like it's coming out into the Sunset Corner. Close racing, yeah, of course, between the Mobil1 V8 Series. How difficult is it overtaking in these cars?
I wouldn't have a clue. No, I don't know. These cars, it's just a different pedigree of fish.
Yeah, different. You need to be someone different.
Yeah.
But I think that's what does so well with the character of the driver. I think if you had to line them up and say what kind of car do they drive, you'll pick up the V8 boys, eh?
Yeah, I suppose, the Randfontein Oaks in front with their V8s.
All right.
I know Thomas Reeb's got a very nice car, a BMW E46 M3 CSL. That's a very nice car.
Yeah. Well, there we go. Reeb certainly closing up the gap now. As mentioned, he was stronger in free practice 1 and 2. I mean, Mackie did miss free practice 1, unfortunately, with that gearbox. I mean, that could have a little impact in your race pace there, not having enough time on the track, and there's been a lot of stopping and starting.
Yeah, but he's a professional. He'll be fun.
So just quickly looking at the lap times here, quickest man on the lap at the moment is the former BMW driver, Mr. Familiaris in the Chevrolet Corvette. He did a 148.7. Adlam are doing a 149.1, and it's a 148.8 for Reeb. Thomas Reeb then, who's been the man to set the pace all weekend long. Top speeds heading down here, 232.
These guys.
232, I've got your top speed here, coming down the main straight. So it's still Adlam.
I think that's similar then to the GT3 cars.
Yeah, absolutely. Di Matteo not being able to make an impression from 5th place. We thought he might have a bit more in the tank. He's got multiple roles here, by the way, Di Matteo, this weekend, because not only is he racing in the V8s, he's taking part in the long race this evening. And then, of course, he's got some duties with the 9-hour as well, with the pace car.
Yeah, he's one of the safety car drivers, and he's also the TC, the technical compliance officer, whatever you call him, for the series as well.
I asked him about all his roles and responsibilities. He said he loves it, so I wasn't going to question him about that. Yeah,
no, he quite enjoys all the technical stuff as well.
You certainly see when you're watching the races, and you can see it here in the Mobil1 V8, that some of the drivers certainly strong on different parts of the track. We can see how Reed closes up through this technical section, but then Adlam seems to be very confident and strong going through Sunset, the S's. And I guess it's like that in your series as well. Drivers have strengths in different parts of the track.
Yeah, obviously with the different motors, we'll have some guys with turbocharged cars. They fly past you down the straight, and then the guys with the naturally aspirated cars might be quick around the corners. So we also have that situation. But yeah, that's the time you do, and that's a class you're in.
Yeah, Reeb looking very strong here now in this first little section. But this is where Adlam certainly seems to open up. So Reeb there coming through. But it was Adlam with the fastest lap on that last lap out, lap 3, 1:48.3.
Oh, that's close now.
Yeah, it looks like he might have made a mistake out that corner. But you're not going to overtake on Sunset, are you?
No.
This is where we had the yellow flags earlier on. So 10 cars on the track. So we've lost. Certainly looks like Richard Fuller is not here. So he might have had a problem. And certainly be looking to get his car back ready because it's the big endurance race a bit later on this evening. Sam Dahl, the international, is up into 7th. We've got Sten Jaar from Sweden in the Ford Falcon, the 2 internationals in Falcons, running there in 7th and 10th at the moment. Adam's still leading the way. He's got 0.6 seconds now of Reeb, Familiaris in 3rd, and they look all pretty settled. De Matteo not quite having the pace, sitting back in 5th, 3 seconds back from Lombard in the Ford Falcon, racing in the Jaguar. So Bernard, just as we head towards the end of this race and get ready for the 9-hour coming up a bit later on, do the guys stick around? Do they take up the festival vibe here for the rest of the day?
Well, look, some of the guys have to go back to work, but yeah, most of the guys then stick around and watch and relax and pack up and have a drink or two. Maybe get something to eat, and it's a nice chilled vibe.
I saw a couple of families and some children around as well.
Yes, yeah, we welcome that. With the children around, that's what they aspire to do. Like myself personally, I remember watching Tony Viana and those guys back in the day. He had Kyalami and always wished I could do it, and I'm actually doing it. So it's lekker. You need to have the children there.
Yeah, absolutely. And let them grow up seeing this and experiencing the sound and the noise. I just wanted to ask you quickly before we wrap up, just favourite part of the track, have you got one?
The mine shaft.
The mine shaft, yeah.
But I'm not enjoying it one-handed, but I still enjoy it. But I'm getting used to it now.
Okay, race 2 for the BMW M Performance Parts Race Series. 8:25, so an early start for the boys tomorrow.
Which is better because it'll be cooler.
And then, come and meet some of the drivers, of course. Amazing stories out there and a big family affair, of course. So, for those who want more information about the series, is there a dedicated website or place we can find out more?
Yeah, well, you can go into our Facebook pages, BMW Car Club, or www.bmwcarclub.co.za.
Listen, I really appreciate your time, Bernard. Thank you so much for joining us. All the best for tomorrow.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Pleasure.
Thanks.
All right, so back to the racing. On to lap 5, and it's Mackie Adlam, and he's the 6 times champion. Can he make it 7? Well, he hasn't quite had it his way this weekend. A gearbox failure in free practice 1. He came back in free practice 2, but admittedly was not feeling 100% confident. And then starting not on pole position when he likes to do. But he's hot on the pace, and here he is leading now. It's Thomas Reeb who's in 2nd. The gap looks well maintained. And in 3rd place, it looks like Familiaris has really closed up there. Just taking different racing lines, going down into Crowthorne. Lombard still in 4th place as we head into the final stages of this, the first race of 2023. The Mobil1 V8 Series, the 5th year that Mobil1 and Africa Group Lubricants have been partnering with this series. And there we go, we've got one car that's out now. The Ford Mustang that looks like Ork Kapan, who's fallen off there now at the back. Di Matteo still sitting in 5th ahead of Terry Wilford in 6th in the Fuchs Lubricants Ford Mustang, and everyone looking quite settled as we head to the final stages of the race. Still to come for you, of course, as we wrap up the Mobil1 V8 Series. Adlam leading, the 6-time champion. Thomas Reed in 2nd and Familiaris in 3rd. We're going to be crossing over shortly to our Kyalami 9-hour team. It's qualifying coming up next. And this is what the fans have come to see. Although this Mobil1 V8 Series certainly putting on a great show, it is the first qualifying drivers heading out in a short while, 3 o'clock start. They've got a 15-minute session, change then drivers, and then of course we go to our 2nd driver, another 15-minute session, short break, changing the drivers, and then a 3rd session, and then the average time between the 3 drivers will determine the grid. I'll be back just after 4 o'clock. We've got InvestChem's opening race for 2023, and that's at 10 minutes past 4. And then it's into a special race just for this weekend, the Wild Rose Gin Sports and GT, coming up for you between 5:30 and 7 o'clock. 2 laps to go then. Yeah, at the Mobil1 V8 Series, it's still Mackie Adlam, the 6-time champion, leading the way. Thomas Reid in second, and Familiaris is looking very racy. Lap times, we've got pretty much on the same pace, so 148.3. Could that excessive temperature on the track be playing a role? And they're looking very close going into Sunset. We know it's not an overtaking spot, but Clubhouse is. And Familiaris looking for a late braking moment here. Di Matteo has spun. Can he get it going once again? He's got the car started in the Jaguar there, and he's back on track there. And that is it's the Crocodiles biting again once again. We've seen it happen in all the races so far today. The Crocodiles is a difficult corner. Chatting to the drivers, not one specific line through there. As you can see again through Leeuwkop, you can see Familiaris going in early and Reeb taking the inside line. Every driver's got their preferred line, but it's all about making sure that you've got your strength going into this. Probably one of the better overtaking opportunities for these rolling thunder beasts with the loud pedals. And it's still Adlam with the lead going into now the start of the final lap. So Di Matteo dropping back then into 6th place after that, what looked like a spin, and Wilford promoted now up into 5th. Last lap to go here at the Mobil1 V8 Series. A series that's looking to grow this season. More cars expected to join. Catching the back of the field now, it's Adlam. They're close together. Familiaris looks just a bit too far back, taking an outside line there, getting ready to go for possibly overtaking, just too far back. Going through Yukske into Barbecue. This is where the fans will be lining up to see some of the best racing moments of the weekend. Hearing some of the the Kyalami 9-hour cars earlier saying that they were doing a bit of a show there, going through the dusty parts of the track. And back marker, tight through there, it's Reeb, and that means that Familiaris is now going to lose that close gap he had to 2nd place. And it looks like this is how they're going to end. A little bit of a bite there from the track going through in club for the 64. It's Sten Joel, our Swedish driver, enjoying South Africa. And the Mobil1 V8 Series is quite a character if you get a chance to chat to him. Up now, looking for your blind braking spots at the top of the track. It's Leeuwkop, the old West Bank corner. If you just look right there, that's where the old track used to turn before as you came out the S's, moving up to the top of the track. Looks like they're all settled now. Going to our final few corners. Down the mine shaft for the last time in the Mobil1 V8 Series. It's Mackie Adlam, the 6-time champion. Despite a gearbox problem early on in the weekend, he's looking like he's going to march to victory. He didn't start on pole. He didn't even start on the front row as he heads through the Crocodiles into Cheetah. And another strong season looks like it's going to be for this man, Mackie Adlam. Thomas Reid, who was looking like the man to beat this weekend, is going to have to settle for 2nd, starting from pole position. But Familiaris then in 3rd, fallen off the pace there. As Mackie Adlam comes to take the checkered flag and the first race victory for 2023 in the Mobil1 V8 Series. Looks like Kampan then did retire from the race, the Ford Mustang. And it looks like Richard Fuller, who didn't get to start. It looks like he had a technical problem on the car. So Familiaris then in 3rd place, waiting for Lombard now. The number 6 Pep Boys Automotive Ford Falcon is expected to come through there in 4th place ahead of Terry Wilford. And then Sam Dahl, the international, will take 6th. Of course, the cars have got their own pit lane here, so they'll be making their entry straight there. They won't do another slow lap around the course and heading into the pits. Well, that was our first race without any safety car or incidents. It's the Mobil1 V8 Series, playing quite nicely. As Mr. Sten Jol makes his way around, he's still, of course, a lap down. As we've got the vehicles coming around for the final time here. The 21 Fuchs Terry Wilford, then he's got ahead of Franco Di Matteo, who made a little small mistake earlier, spun out, and he takes the checkered flag. So 148.3 then, the quickest lap of the of the race, and that was Mr. Mackie Adlam in the Jaguar. Stunning vehicle, the 6-time champion, despite not starting on the front row, looking very comfortable. And once again, the man to beat here in the 2023 Mobil1 V8 Series. Very warm day. Just give you a quick weather update and track performance there. So air temperature 30.4 degrees. There's the Mustang that looks like he's gone into the 9-hour pit. So he'll get a little tow around. Track temperature 54.4. That's certainly going to have an impact on the 9-hour race as we start to see that track temperature not coming down. And we'll start to see how that has an impact on their times. Could shake things up as we go into the Kyalami 9-hour. It's the main qualifying session coming up next. So Mackie Adlam then with the race victory, just 8 laps of the course, and he is comfortably underway for the 2023 season, despite having a gearbox change and not starting on the front row. It's Thomas Reed, the number 9 in the Mobil1 Chevy Lumina, in second place. And Julian Familiaris in the LoopNet DiMatteo Racing GWR Chevrolet Corvette in third place. Mr. Lombard in fourth ahead of Wilford. DiMatteo then obviously had a problem because he's fallen way back down into 8th place. He had an early spin out, but has not managed to recover. In fact, there we go. Looks like 2 laps down. He might have gone straight into the pits. Some of your highlights from the opening round of the 2023 Mobil1 V8 Series, powered by Mobil1. Great to have them on board for a 5th year, alongside the Africa Group Lubricants. It was a start. You can see Mackie Adlam was not even on the front row. There he comes in 3rd place. He was hot on the heels of Thomas Reeb, who then overshot the first corner. There he goes. It's a tricky coming back onto the course, but Mackie Adlam, cool, calm and collected. Everybody playing nicely through that corner. Down onto the support race straights, and looks like that's how they would finish. Oh, a little bit twitch there going into Ingwe, and DiMatteo, of course, was struggling with his pace. Doesn't look like the setup was quite right. He had a power steering problem earlier on in the week. Could be having an effect. We'll find out how his race weekend went. Mackie Adlam there, those very familiar colours. He's got a whole group of people supporting him. He looked comfortable throughout the race. And that's how the top 3 continued. There was DiMatteo. He had the spin. Managed to get back onto the track. But it was Mackie Adlam who took the race victory ahead of Thomas Reeb in 2nd place and Familiaris in 3rd. Opening round of Mobil1 V8 Series for 2023. So it's been action-packed opening afternoon here at the Kyalami 9-hour and the 9-hour festival. So we've had 4 races. We've still got more to come for you as we turn our attention now to the big Kyalami 9-hour. It's qualifying up next. Stay with us. Follow our socials for all that's happening here. And make sure you've got your tickets if you're nearby. You don't want to miss out on tomorrow's action. Right, all set to go then for more racing this afternoon. We've still got the 1600 on the way. We've got the big race this coming up later on today with the GT and sports cars as well coming up. So from me up here at the commentary booth, we'll chat to you a little bit later. Thank you.